Hey everyone, welcome to week 23, day 3. This is our continuing The Beast. We're trying to tame the beast week. And on Monday, we did a very Giacometti-ish, kind of chaotic, trying to represent the whole of the light post. So it was a good exercise in trying to see the whole of it and how it felt. The most important part was just really trying to acknowledge how I felt about it. And yesterday, for Spanish Tuesday, Martes de Español, I went from, the bigness of it and the entangled mess that I feel that post is to just a very clean sort of little moment of the post. Just trying to get like both ends of the spectrum, and I think it was really cool. And for today, we're going to try to see this post literally under another light. So let's see how we do. Okay, let's get started. This is our third day on our ongoing Beast week, where we're trying to tame, even though tame is not the right word, I think, because we're not trying to overpower this beast. We're not trying to change the hierarchical status that we recognized at the beginning of the week, where this post, this light post that has a bunch of power lines, really signified something that I was horrified of. It has nothing to do with it not being a pretty view from my window. No, I actually think it's like super interesting. It has a lot of like amazing shapes, but it has more to do with just me being incredibly anxious and apprehensive about the fact that when I see this object, I just don't know how to digest it. Visually, I just don't know how to take it in. It's almost like I feel there's too much information there for me to internalize it. I've described this before when I tell my story about me putting my glasses on for the first time and just seeing this excess of information and just feeling overwhelmed. I think it's that same feeling. I think it's that feeling of an object's nature just being overly complicated for the way that I want to see the world. I've told you guys already that I would love to be a painter that is capable of simplifying even the most complex of natures. And I think this is one of those cases where I really believe this would be incredibly challenging for me. And it's one of those things that if somebody were to tell me that I have to paint this light post with, all these cables and power lines for a year, I wouldn't be bored. I think I would be incredibly challenged, and I would be very afraid of how to prepare myself for that challenge. But I'm sure that I wouldn't really defeat myself before trying to resolve this encounter through painting, because I've had a blast with these past couple of paintings. And I think that in a way, what happened on Monday is so different to what happened on Tuesday that it gives me kind of hope that I can start seeing this object, this very menacing object, as something that I actually can have a conversation with, that I actually can begin to understand as painting. And I think that that's where my efforts lie in, because I've always argued that the fact that the object of the painting exists, to me, is absolutely irrelevant. What I find incredibly helpful in my life is the fact that I can have a conversation with nature and try to resolve whatever questions arise from that conversation through painting. It is through painting that I was going to say I make sense of it, but no, I try to make sense of it. So the effort of this week is not just about making paintings and seeing if a very nice painting can come out of this encounter. It's actually just me trying to question why, when I see this object, this very threatening object, I feel anxious and I feel like it's just bigger than life. Because if I would look past this light post, and if I could clear all these buildings that are behind it, about a mile away, not even, I would see the mountain range. I would see the Andean mountains. And those are infinitely more massive than this light post and these power lines. But when I see those mountains, I have a completely different reaction. I feel at peace. I feel that that's like company to me, that in many ways they are colossal but also invisible. It's very, very strange, but when I see this thing that's right in front of me, again, infinitely smaller than the mountain range, I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, this is too much. And I want to find out, why is it that I kind of perceive it that way. I think it was almost like cathartic to be able to take all that information and condense it into this very narrow painting that we did on Monday. And I liked it. It was kind of messy and gray and almost like scribbled. It had kind of like that loose quality that you have to engage with when you are in front of a very, very complex subject matter, to exercise a ton of control at that moment when you're just, starting to have that conversation slash fight with this object. You tend to be sort of expressive. You want to kind of measure and gauge how you're reacting to all this information that's coming in. It's a barrage of information, so you're trying to channel all that stuff. So I kind of liked that there was a looser, a little more chaotic quality to that first one. And what happened yesterday was that I literally saw a moment of this object under a totally different light. This is very literal, but it was sunlight, and it actually made me think of how insanely powerful our perception and appreciation of sunlight is, because it really does change the nature of almost everything. I was shocked when I noticed that while I was painting this, just having this really nice light bathing the object and creating all these nice different shapes and rhythms really made the painting about something completely different. It's almost as if you had a nightmare during the day. It just kind of doesn't make sense. It's almost disjointed, because I still had those feelings of being very apprehensive about my subject matter, but I also realized that it's almost impossible to paint a very sad sunlit picture. It's very, very weird. It almost goes against the very nature of sunlight. It was a ton of fun just trying to grasp all these feelings, all these very bizarre feelings that I have when I look at this object, but also realizing that, I was doing all these little details. And yesterday I mentioned that it just put my mind into a very kind of industrial age, very Charles Sheeler mindset, where I just saw this man-made object and it was beautifully lit and it was really nicely constructed. And I was trying to access those qualities and at the same time speak about these kind of shapes of light. While I was doing that, I realized that all those things were actually kind of throwing me off from feeling those very nervous feelings that I would normally feel when encountering this object. So I was like, wow, this is insanely powerful. The fact that if I can abstract this moment of this object into shapes of light that, in turn, I can interpret in the painting through color, through masses of color, just, abstract shapes of color. It's incredible how all the ways in which you redefine that stimulus actually drains a lot of that energy from the object, that's inherent to the way I perceive it, and just completely redefines my perception. I start thinking about so many other things that I'm like, okay, this totally changed the way I looked at it. I think on Monday, I was trying to level sort of the playing field and try to see if I could just look as if we were both at the same eye level at this post, at this pretty much massive object. Then yesterday, I was like, okay, I'm going to break you apart and I'm just going to look at a segment, at a moment of your nature, and I'm going to see it under sunlight, and let's see if I still feel this menacing nature. And of course I didn't. My mind was completely transported somewhere else. And it was totally, totally manageable for me, because I realized I'm not painting a post. I'm just painting a moment of those power lines, and they're sunlit. So I'm painting light. I'm actually painting light, and I'm really going to try to translate all that light into abstract shapes. So in essence, I'm kind of just doing an abstract composition of color, of shapes of color. And that's it. I was like, okay, that was actually pretty cool, because I started out with just this thing that's right outside my window, and now I'm thinking of abstract shapes of color and composition. So it was really, really cool. So for today's painting, I thought, well, let me see if another change in its nature, in the way it's presented to me, can actually transform the way I see it. So I thought about just painting it at night. And I thought it was a very obvious transition just from painting it during the day. We had a nice day here, so it was blue sky, sunny day. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to paint it at night. and I'm going to be able to access that very, very beautiful atmosphere that you get at night. Because this is a light post, because this is like an electrical post, and it also has like power lines, you get this weird beast. You really do. You get this weird thing that is almost like self-sustained. Like it's actually giving itself the energy that it needs to light up. So I think of it as almost like a sentient being. Yeah, I know, it's kind of dumb. Anyways, I wanted to kind of showcase how the electricity that is running through all those power lines is actually lighting up that post, which then exhibits its own, electrical system that is running through it. I liked it. It felt like I was painting the entrails of something. It very much so felt like it was alive. It was an object shining a light on itself. So I thought it was very, very cool. It was almost like the object presenting itself to me at night. And I thought that was awesome because it totally changed the nature of what was going on yesterday, where when we think of sunlight, we think of this external, massive, bigger than our imagination source of light, because we actually can't rationalize how big the sun is, but we understand that this is something that's almost like outside our nature. It's actually the one thing that gives us all life. And when something is being lit by that light, it's almost so powerful that we understand that we are speaking about light. We're not speaking about that object. We're actually speaking about this insanely, immensely powerful light. So it does become a little more about the light than it does about the object itself. But at night, when the object itself is actually powering this light, this source of light, with the energy that flows through it, it's so cool because it's completely different. It's almost like a Frankenstein of an object that is just alive and it's just there presenting itself to you. And one thing that I did yesterday, which made it incredibly more manageable for me to paint this object, was the fact that I started thinking of composition and shapes. And I mean, those are all givens. Like every single time we draw and paint, we have to think about those things. But I was just almost hyper conscious of how beneficial it was for the image for me to sit down and say, okay, how am I going to compose this? Because that's going to actually help me in trying to digest. It's almost like the tools that we use to communicate to others, the manner in which they are going to read, the observer is going to travel through our painting, also helps me digest it, is also helping me make sense of it. So I realized these tools that we have, composition, design, shapes, are so incredibly powerful, even for us. And because I was painting at night and because I was very conscious about my shapes, composition, I thought immediately, and I've mentioned him before, he's in my top 5. I thought immediately of Phil Hale. Phil Hale, I actually presented his work before when I was speaking about illustration. Today, I was reminded of just a darker, more grounded aesthetic that he has in his paintings. And I just love it. It's almost like a collaged painting that is just fighting with itself, but it's the most beautiful fight that I've ever seen. I really do believe that Phil is one of the best contemporary painters out there. I mean, just in terms of ability, just natural ability, he is just insane, and he's able to things that are so insanely complex. He has this ability to present them in such an elegant way. It just seems, I mean, not effortless because they are complicated. And when he paints them, he makes an incredible job at presenting like this complicated nature of his subject matter. He does it in a way where everything just feels so balanced, which is counter to the fact that I really feel that there is so much tension, like inner tension within his paintings, that it's absolutely incredible. I think the energy that those paintings hold within, that they store inside, it's just amazing. It's something that you really don't see at all in contemporary painting or in pretty much the history of painting. Now, if you're thinking about it, because I immediately started thinking about it when I said he's in my top 5, I think RVK, Ruprecht, he's in my top 5. I think Phil is in my top 5. If I have to go with one old master, just if I had to pick one, out of all those amazing, like that constellation of incredible old masters, I have to pick Rembrandt. He's always been there. Out of Sargent, Sorolla, and Zorn, I would have to pick Fortuny. So there's one spot left, and I don't know who's in there. It's a pretty amazing list. 5. Olga Woznanska. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm done. Yeah, we're good. We're totally fine. So that's my 5. Boznanska, Rembrandt, in no particular order. I'm going to faint if I have to give you this list in order. But Boznanska, Rembrandt, RVK, Phil Hale, and Fortuny. I dare you to come up with like a stronger 5 than that. But that's it. Anyways, as I always do, I tried to channel my inner Phil Hale, which I don't have at all. He has more talent in his fingernail than I'll ever have in my whole body throughout my whole lifetime. I tried to take all of that in and remind myself that these very fundamental tools, light, composition, shapes, design, they are the cornerstones of our painting. It doesn't matter what you're painting. It doesn't matter what your subject matter is. And your subject matter could be as menacing and you could feel as horrified as I feel when I look at this light post and power lines. But when you bring that object into our turf, where we can interpret things through composition, design, and all these things that I talked about, then all these things suddenly change their nature and are at our disposal. And they are actually telling us, okay, use me to try to make something exciting, to say something exciting. It was an amazing reminder of how powerful the core of painting is. Not just painting, not just putting a brushstroke down. No, the actual pulse of painting. If we can just access a little bit of what they can offer to us, oh my God, why are we going to be scared about anything? I mean, I'm still scared shitless when I look at these power lines, but you know, we're working on it. We still have 2 days to go, so we'll see how that goes. But that was our 3rd day. I was really happy. I was super happy with this painting. I think it kicks ass. I have a ton of respect. It's not like I'm losing respect for this object. I still have a ton of respect, but I'm trying to understand that there's no reason for me to be anxious when I look at it. And that's an awesome feeling. So we'll see if I can keep that going for tomorrow. Maybe not. Maybe the horrors come back tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out. Bye.